Hello everyone and welcome to the online lecture series by Shet Vidya Mandir English High School and Junior College of Science and Commerce. Myself JAYESH RAJGOR and today we are going to study 12th Standard Economics New Syllabus Chapter number 3A Demand Analysis. And today's topic of discussion is Determinants of Demand. Yes, my dear students. You have already studied the concept of utility in the previous chapter. Utility is the basis of demand. Utility may generate a desire or need to have a particular commodity, but utility on its own cannot generate demand for the commodity. This chapter 3A demand analysis is an effort to analyze the concept of demand. Demand analysis is concerned mainly with consumer behavior. In ordinary language, demand means a desire. Desire means an urge to have something. But in economics, every desire cannot be termed as demand. Demand means a desire which is backed by willingness and ability to pay. Yes, my dear students, these two terms are very important and crucial to understand the true meaning of demand. Willingness and ability to pay make a desire demand. For example, if a person has the desire to purchase a television set but does not have the adequate purchasing power, then it will be simply a desire and not a demand. So, in this way, we understand the true meaning of demand, that demand is equal to desire plus willingness plus ability to pay. In today's video, we will understand the determinants of demand. Yes, my dear students. In the previous video, we understood the types of demand, where we saw direct demand, indirect demand, complementary, that is joint demand, composite demand, and competitive demand. Today, we are going to understand this concept called as determinants of demand. Determinants means the factors which affect demand. Demand is nothing but a desire backed by ability and willingness to pay. So, always and always in the consumer's mind, there are certain factors which tend to affect his or her demand. These are some important determinants or factors which affect a consumer's demand, namely price of that particular commodity or good. Similarly, prices of substitute goods, prices of complementary goods, income, nature of product, size of population, expectation about future prices, advertisements, taste, level of taxation, and many other factors are responsible in affecting demand. Let us today understand each one of them in detail. Starting with the most important factor which affects demand directly, price. Yes, my dear students. Whenever you tend to demand any particular product or commodity, or we can say when you want a particular product or commodity, you often check out its price. Without looking at the price, you just don't go and buy things, while it is online buying or whether it is normal buying in the market. You always tend to check the price of the product. Price determines the demand for a commodity to a large extent. Consumers prefer to purchase a product in large quantities when price of product is less, and they purchase a product in small quantities when price of a product is high. Yes, my dear students, this is normal or natural human tendency, or we can say a consumer tendency, where a consumer always prefers to buy more of a product when it is cheap or provided at a less rate comparatively. Similarly, they tend to buy in small quantities or less amount when the product is priced high or has a more comparative price than other products. So, here we can understand that price is the most important factor which affects demand. Similarly, prices of substitute goods. Yes, my dear students, in the previous video we studied competitive or substitute goods demand. If a substitute good is available at lower price, then people will demand cheaper substitute good than costly good. This is a very simple one to understand. As price is one of the most important factors which affect demand, when we see that a particular product is available at a cheaper price, we tend to buy that product. Similarly, in case of substitute goods also, if the price of a particular substitute is cheaper than the one we want, we will definitely go for the one which is available at cheaper price and good quality. For example, if the price of sugar rises, then demand for jaggery will rise because people will prefer jaggery rather than buying costly sugar. So in this way, prices of substitute goods is also one of the important factors affecting demand. Here we come to the next point, prices of complementary goods. Change in the price of one commodity would also affect the demand for other commodity. For example, car and fuel. If the price of fuel rises, then demand for cars will fall. A very simple one. My dear students, complementary goods are often demanded jointly. Here, these are those products which are demanded jointly to satisfy a single want. Example, car and fuel, pen and ink. In such cases, when demand for one, or we can say price of one commodity would also affect the demand for the other one. If there is increase in fuel prices, the demand for cars might fall, and thus prices of complementary goods can affect demand. Moving further, income. Income is yet another very important factor affecting demand. If income is high, demand is high. If income falls, demand might fall. Income of a consumer decides purchasing power. Yes, my dear students, if you have more money in your wallet, you might spend more. But if you have less money, you will tend to demand less. Income of a consumer decides the purchasing power, which in turn influences the demand for the product. So remember, rise in income will lead to a rise in demand for the commodity, and a fall in income will lead to a fall in demand for the commodity. Moving further, the next important factor affecting demand is nature of product. If a commodity is a necessity and its use is unavoidable, then its demand will continue to be the same, irrespective of the corresponding price. For example, medicine to control blood pressure, a very good one. Yes, my dear students, if the demand is a necessity, a product which is unavoidable, we have to purchase it, then we might not look at the price tag. We will tend to purchase it irrespective of the prices. For example, these medicines which are used to control blood pressure, thus it is proved that nature of product is also a factor which affects demand. The next one is size of population. Larger the size of population, greater will be the demand. Yes, my dear students, even in our country, which is one of the most largely populated country in the world, demand is great. Yes, larger the size of population, greater will be the demand for a commodity. And smaller the size of population, smaller will be the demand for a commodity. Moving further, we can take an example of this particular person. A small village living person. This person has limited demand when he stays alone, but his demand tend to increase when the family increases. Similarly, as the size of his family increases, it means the population increases, the demand also increases. Thus, it is very clear that size of population is a very important point which affects demand. Next is expectations about future prices. If the consumer expects the price to fall in future, he will buy less in the present at the prevailing price. Similarly, if he expects the price to rise in future, he will buy more in the present at the prevailing price. Yes, my dear students. If the consumer expects the price to fall in future, he will buy less in the present. It is very clear. Expectations hurt, and thus when we expect the price to fall, we don't buy at the current stage. But if we expect the prices to rise in future, we rush for buying in the current stage. Thus, expectations about future prices are also affecting demand. The next one here is advertisements. Determinants of demand. Advertisements is a very important one. Advertisement, sales promotion scheme, offers, effective salesmanship tend to change the preferences of the consumers. My dear students, we often tend to buy certain products which are branded or shown off by some big celebrities in the country, and thus many of such products are demanded because of some effective marketing campaigns. And thus, for example, cosmetics, toothbrush, etc., are some finest examples of good branding and good advertisements. Certain products advertised by film stars are often demanded in large quantities. The next point is taste, habits, fashion, or we can say preferences. Every person has different taste, habits, or fashion or preference. Taste and habits of a consumer influence the demand for a commodity. If a consumer likes to eat chocolates or consume tea, he will demand more of them. Similarly, when a new fashion hits the market, the consumer demands that particular type of a commodity. Similarly, if a commodity goes out of fashion, then suddenly the demand for that product tends to fall. So it is very simple and easy to understand that taste habits and fashions are also determinants of demand. Next is level of taxation. Yes, my dear students, sometimes government policies also change demand. High rates of taxes on goods or services would increase the price of the goods or services. If certain goods are taxed highly or heavily, the price of those goods will definitely increase, and thus, more the price, consumers will stay away from such product. This in turn would result in a decrease in demand for goods or services and vice versa. So in this way, my dear students, we understand all the different determinants or factors affecting demand. Here are some other factors which also affect demand, such as climatic conditions. Especially in case of agricultural goods, climatic conditions affect demand drastically. Similarly, changes in technology, modern technology or latest use of technology can also make or bring about a big change in demand. Similarly, government policies such as GST taxation policy brings about good change in demand. Lastly, customs and traditions, etc., are also some of the important determinants of demand. In this way, we conclude that determinants of demand are very easy and important to understand so that we can conclude that demand are affected or demand is affected by certain factors such as price, prices of substitute goods, prices of complementary goods, income, nature of product, size of population, expectations about future prices, advertisements, taste, level of taxation, and some other important factors. In this video, we completed determinants of demand. In the next video, we'll meet with some other interesting answers from this chapter. Till then, stay safe, stay connected. Thank you very much.